This is the story of Robert Wadlow, the world's tallest ever man. Nothing looked out of the ordinary on the 22nd of February 1918 when Robert Pershing Wadlow was born in the small city of Alton, Illinois, the average size for a newborn baby. This would be where the averageness would end for the Alton native though, as by the time Robert was just 5 years old, he stood 5 foot 6.5 inches and wore clothes that would fit a 17-year-old boy. His remarkable growth spurt wouldn't slow down, as he was 5 foot 10 inches, or the height of an average adult male at just 7 years old. At 9 years old, Robert had reached 6 foot 2.5 inches and weighed 82 kilograms, reportedly having enough strength to carry his dad while sitting on a living room chair up a set of stairs. This impressive strength would only improve with age, as Robert's height and weight skyrocketed to mind-boggling levels. You may be wondering what caused Robert's remarkable size. The answer was hypertrophy of his pituitary gland, which caused an abnormally high level of human growth hormone. It would be when Robert was 12 years old that his parents would learn of his diagnosis. If Robert was born today, there's a very large likelihood that advanced surgeries and medicine would have been used to stunt his growth. At the time, however, surgeons felt uncomfortable operating on the young boy, as they weren't completely confident that they could help him. Robert was left to grow to his natural height, which originally didn't appear to be an issue, as he was a relatively healthy kid. As he aged and his height increased, he suffered from a lack of feeling in his legs and feet. This often meant that he wouldn't notice issues like blisters or infections unless he was looking for them. As his health worsened, he would require leg braces and a cane to get around. While it would have been beneficial for the giant man to be pushed in a wheelchair, Robert preferred to walk on his own accord, despite it being detrimental to his health. Robert's remarkable height would break records at 13 years old, when he was credited as the world's tallest Boy Scout, standing a whopping 7 foot 4 inches. To put this into perspective, debatably the most dominant basketball player ever, Shaquille O'Neal, was a whole 3 inches shorter than the 13-year-old Robert Wadlow. Robert averaged a growth of 4 inches, or 10 centimeters, per year since his birth, while wearing a gigantic size 19 US shoes. After graduating high school in 1936, at 17 years old, Robert shot past the 8 foot mark, reaching an astonishing 8 foot 3 inches. This height matches that of the current living tallest man, Turkish-born farmer Sultan Kosin. In the same year that he graduated, Robert would become a celebrity on his 1936 US tour with the Ringling Brothers Circus. Despite the circus request, Robert refused to wear a top hat and tails, instead dressing in an everyday fashion to avoid ridicule or being branded as a freak show. In 1938, the Alton giant stood 8 foot 7.25 inches tall and weighed in at 221 kilograms. He would begin a promotional tour with the International Shoe Company, who in return provided Robert with free size 37 US shoes for his outrageously large feet. Back then, custom shoes that size could cost you well over $100. In today's money, that would be roughly $2,000. Robert was tailor-made for advertising, not just due to his impressive size, but additionally his immense physical strength, which drew large crowds wherever he went. Despite his intimidating frame, Robert was extremely mild-mannered and friendly, hence why he was dubbed the Gentle Giant by his family and friends. Furthermore, Robert lived a simple and quiet life when not on promotional tours. However, his size did hinder his ability to do everyday tasks, as most places and items aren't made for a person of his otherworldly size. 1 year before his death, Wadlow passed the previous tallest person ever, John Rogan, who as a result of giantism stood 8 foot 9.5 inches tall. Robert would not stop growing here though, as on the 27th of June 1940, just 18 days before his death, he was measured by doctors at a final recorded height of 8 foot 11.1 inches. Amazingly, even after the time of his death, there was no indication that his growth had ended. The passing of Robert Wadlow was a tragic one. While he was making an appearance at Michigan's Manistee National Forest Festival, he didn't realise that a blister had formed on his leg. Robert was unable to notice when an ill-fitting brace was rubbing up against his ankle due to the aforementioned lack of feeling in his legs. The blister was so irritated that it soon became infected and Wadlow ran a high fever. At the time, Robert's weight also drastically dropped, from a peak of 223 kilograms to 199 kilograms, a sign of his rapidly deteriorating health. His immense height resulted in a weakened immune system, leaving the giant more prone to infections and illness. By the time doctors realised what had happened, they quickly rushed to Robert's aid, resulting to a blood transfusion and emergency surgery. Sadly, however, the doctors' efforts were unsuccessful, and Robert would pass away on the 15th of July 1940 at the young age of 22. His body was laid to rest in his beloved hometown of Alton, Illinois. Robert's casket was certainly fitting of that for the tallest man in the world. It measured over 10 feet long and weighed about 1,000 pounds with him inside. It took 18 pallbearers to carry his casket in and out of the funeral. The death of Robert touched many, with thousands of people showing up to mourn the death of Robert Wadlow. A life-size statue of the Alton giant was erected in Wadlow's home city in 1985 to honour his legacy. In the 82 years since Robert's death, nobody has even come close to reaching his remarkable height. Chances are, no one ever will.